I feel the need for speed. Ow! You guys know exactly what I'm here to talk about today. If you can't already tell in the first 5 seconds, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do with you. If you can't see the thumbnail, if you can't read the title, here's the deal. Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick. My favorite movie of all time. These aren't the only copies I own, by the way. I also own this bitch on VHS, DVD, and a totally legal version, I'm quite sure, on this very computer. Now, Top Gun is my favorite movie of all time. Is it the greatest movie of all time? Absolutely fucking not. Let's get that out of the way. But Top Gun Maverick officially is now the #1 box office hit of 2022, and it deserves to be in that space. There are some naysayers. There are some people who do not understand the significance of Top Gun. And I'm going to lay down the law. I'm not sure of all my statistics necessarily. I'm not much of a numbers guy, ironically being an electrician. However, here's the big thing to take away. Top Gun Maverick was fucking phenomenal. It was incredible. Am I going to keep punctuating? No, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to tell you guys is that Top Gun Maverick was fucking great. It was a great movie. Not a good movie, not a okay for the fans. No. Stand alone. You guys don't know how many people told me, never saw the original Top Gun. What rock were you living under and why is your childhood shitty? And then actually said they went to go see Top Gun Maverick, which... okay, let's go see Spider-Man 18 without knowing anything about Spider-Man and complain it's a bad movie syndrome. Let's do that. But no, what transpired was the weirdest thing to me. People who never saw Top Gun went to see Top Gun Maverick, which once again, I think they need a CAT scan to go see a sequel without knowing the original, but they came out of the theater loving the movie. They absolutely loved it. They praised it. They said, oh my God, this movie is so good. Everyone I talked to, half the people I talked to didn't even know Top Gun was a movie. And I just want, once again, you know, about that. But the idea here is that standalone, this movie is fantastic. And if you are any type of fan of the original, this movie was even better for you and for me. Once again, I was a tiny little 3-year-old when I saw Top Gun for the first time. And it has steadily been my favorite movie throughout the entirety. I love Star Wars. I love Lord of the Rings. I love The Godfather. I love Casablanca. I love It's a Wonderful Life. I love a genre of movies that spans over 100 years plus. But Top Gun, a B movie, a not fantastic movie, is my favorite. And to see this sequel, now once again, I haven't checked this, so maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is the only standalone movie that has a sequel this many years later. I'm quite sure. Yes, there's been like trilogies and then 20 years later they make another one and that kind of stuff, or, you know, they make the 6th installment of this, that, or the other thing. But I mean one standalone movie that's over 3 decades. I'm pretty sure Top Gun Maverick is the longest waited, if you want to look at it that way, standalone movie sequel in history. I'm quite sure there's no other standalone movie that gets a sequel over 35 years later. I'm pretty confident in that. Maybe there's some obtuse movie that I'm not, you know, totally aware of. But Top Gun Maverick hit #1 at the box office. We knew it was going to be between that and the Doctor Strange. And once again, I haven't seen the new Doctor Strange movie. I'm kind of behind on my Marvel movies. I think it sort of ended with Endgame and stuff like that. But that's not the point. The point is, why is Top Gun Maverick so good? And I've seen all the videos and stuff, and I know my channel's not that big. But for me to actually go and see Top Gun Maverick, to see Top Gun 2, and not talk about it, considering, once again, my favorite movie of all time, now made a sequel, and I don't talk about that on my channel. I talk about shit I give half a shit about on this channel. I'm talking about this shit. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, seriously, I didn't go buy this for this video. Trust me, I've had this shit. So, let's get right under the way here, because what actually makes, and there are way better video essays on this, but seriously, what makes this sequel, as people have said, this sequel is better than it should have been. Better than it could have been. better than everyone expected it to be. Me personally, from a cinematic, from a unbiased standpoint, yes, I get what people are saying. But as a fan of Top Gun, this is everything I wanted in a Top Gun movie. This is what I wanted in a Top Gun sequel. It made total sense. It was just long enough. It didn't feel too long. It didn't feel too short. It didn't feel like it was just giving it to the fans. It had a good plot. It had good characters, good writing. It had a great cast. Everything involved with this was just phenomenal. And the fact that, once again, we're going back to practical effects. Yes, was there some CGI and stuff? I'm sure there was. And I have no doubt that it was more than I probably expect. But we know for facts that everything that Tom Cruise and the cast did, they went through the G-forces. They were in the rear. They were in the Rio position of these planes. They were actually up in the air. And they were filming this entire thing. Most of that stuff you see is visually, it's there. It's actually there and happening. A lot of the plane sequences, I'm sure there's some that aren't happening, and I'm sure there's definitely, of course, some non-practical effects, but this, I think, is one thing that made the movie just visually stunning right out of the gate. You know how CGI has come a long way since times like The Scorpion King and Episode 1 and all that stuff like that, and all these very badly done CGIs, and now we have these beautiful things like, oh my god, I can't even tell what's real and what's not anymore, that kind of idea. There is still something to be said for great practical effects. I would argue that some of the original series Star Wars films still hold up because the models are actually models and physically there. That's why they still look good. The costumes and stuff are actual costumes, not CGI'd on. It's actual makeup and stuff like that. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, same thing. A shit ton of practical effects alongside the CGI to make it blend beautifully. That's what we need more of. The Underworlds. Why do you think the werewolves look better in Underworld than anything, or Lycans than anything else? Because practical effects. And Top Gun Maverick did this beautifully. As much as they could get away with practical effects, they did. They did it. And it is a visually stunning movie. Regardless how much people dislike Tom Cruise and all that stuff. And once again, can you separate the art from the artist? Some people can't. I'm not in that camp. I can absolutely separate the art from the artist. Their politics and their stance on stuff does not affect my enjoyment of a film they are a part of. That's just me. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm in this camp. Or this camp. Whichever direction I was. Fact of the matter is, visually stunning regardless. Then, of course, you have a couple, and I think this is the one thing that would disappoint other fans of the original film like me, that there's not a whole lot of people back from the original. It makes sense that Kelly McGillis is not there because of the plot line we have for Maverick. And once again, spoiler, I should have put that before, but spoiler warnings for the movie. I am going to be spoiling the movie, so if you haven't seen it, I urge you to go see it. But the callback to a throwaway line of Penny Benjamin from the original movie now being the love interest back in the movie, that didn't feel contrived. That didn't feel like, okay, Maverick still got it sort of idea. No, this was an on and off flame before we even met Maverick back in 1984. So this works fine. Anthony Edwards not being in the film, well, that was one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most biggest character deaths in film history, in my opinion, was Goose. Goose dying in the original Top Gun film had a profound effect on a lot of people. We don't generally see one of our two main characters die in a film, especially back then. Character writing, it was not, George R.R. Martin didn't stop slashing the heads off of all his main cast just to be edgy or anything of that shit back then. No. This was in the 80s, and generally speaking, the good guy won. There wasn't a whole lot of the, circumventional storytelling as much back then. So this was a big moment. So Anthony Edwards wasn't going to come back. And the position of other people. I mean, Val Kilmer, fantastic scene that he was in. His point in the movie made a lot of sense because they also, of course, had to work around the fact, and I didn't even know this at the time. I knew Val Kilmer had suffered from throat cancer. I didn't realize all the work they had to put into that one scene to get him to talk. That was amazing. I found that out later. I didn't realize. I thought they were sort of playing that up. They were using what had happened to Val Kilmer in real life, and they were utilizing it in the movie. I didn't realize it was for the fact that he really can't really talk anymore, and they did all this work and stuff, and Tom Cruise apparently insisted, the fans insisted that Val Kilmer, Iceman, be back in the film. Fantastic. Now, are we missing a few other cast members? Of course we are, but were they really relevant to come back other than cameos for fans like me? Not necessarily. Remember, Maverick at this point in his career is the only one left. Seeing Wolfman or Hollywood or Slider and stuff like that, none of them, they would have moved on just like Ice did. Nobody else would have stayed a fighter pilot anymore. In fact, Rick, I can't even say his last name, but Rick, who played the original Slider, Iceman's Rio, back in the original Top Gun, has gone on statement to say in his own headcanon that he believes that the man's retired after flying commercial jets for a long time, which apparently does happen to a lot of fighter pilots. They fly for airlines, later on in their career. So all of this makes sense that we didn't see a lot of familiar faces. Like, why shoehorning in Tom Skerritt might have been nice to see Viper again or something like that, but once again, that would have just been shoehorning these characters in for the sake of people who saw the 1984 film, not necessarily practical in a realistic sequel to Top Gun. So, what do you do for the fans? You open the movie the same goddamn way as the original and you get us locked in from the first 4 minutes. That's how you do it. That's how you sell it. I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, this movie was beautiful. The ice scene was awesome. The fact that they weren't just going, okay, we only had Val Kilmer for one scene. No, they made this work. The whole text messaging thing was like, okay, Ice is in the movie, but he's actually only in a cameo. No, it made sense with the text messaging because he can't really talk. He can't go meet him on the base because he's not on the base. It makes a lot of sense. And the fact that Ice became an admiral, that makes a lot of sense. The fact that Ice has been protecting and defending his wingman his entirety of his career, which we know Maverick has admitted in the movie, throughout the movie, sort of admitted, yeah, I became a captain, but I fucked up. I'm pissed off a lot of people. I've been stationed in 95 different places where Ice has defended me, and that's the only reason that I'm still a part of the Navy is because Ice has been protecting me and nobody can go against Admiral Ice. That makes sense. It makes sense in that grand scheme of things. And then, of course, we have the thing with Rooster and all that stuff. Meg Ryan doesn't return, which I was sort of expecting her to return at some point. But then this is the one thing I sort of wish they had sort of included. I wish they had gotten Meg Ryan back and that she hadn't been killed off by the time that Top Gun Maverick takes place. And we had a scene where Meg Ryan shows up as, of course, Rooster's mother and Goose's widow, and shows up and basically admits to Rooster it's not Maverick's fault and stuff like that. Once again, the movie's fine the way they handled it, but when I was watching it, I more expected Meg Ryan, the mother, to show up and basically tell Rooster the truth, that she was the one to beg Maverick, don't let my boy be a fighter pilot and do whatever you can to stop him from being a fighter pilot. And then Rooster sort of getting that sort of, and then getting over that fact or something like that. I feel like that could have, but once again, that's what a lot of movies have done. And this movie instead, once again, not doing it for the fans, just to have Meg Ryan back in one scene. No. They say, you know what? That's too easy. We need Rooster to accept Maverick without Maverick ever telling him. Rooster still believes that Maverick did that because he was selfish, because he's an asshole, because he's whatever. He never finds out that his mother, as he says to Penny, and says, hey, like, why don't you tell Rooster that? It's like, if Rooster's got to hate somebody, just hate me. Why share the hate? Hating one person is bad enough. I don't need him to think badly of his mother. You know what I mean? That is something Maverick would do for the widow of Goose. That is absolutely within character. It makes a lot of sense. And the fact that by the end of the film, Rooster and Maverick are still like, yeah, but he still never tells them. And they never know. That is, Listen, this movie has so much going for it. And this is just a rant video. This is just me talking the shit. Because I'm, as I said, guys, I own like 6 copies of this movie. I love this goddamn movie. And I can't wait to buy 6 copies of Top Gun Maverick. Because guess what I'm raising my children on? Ta-da! Some of the greatest films. I gotta raise them on this shit. Because this is fantastic. And once again, I know a lot of people that don't like Tom Cruise. Once again, separate yourself from the politics. Regardless, you know, as I've always said to people, here's the deal you need to do. Because a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise because of the Scientology, because of this, because of that, whatever. Okay, here's the deal that you have to choose for yourself. Pick your favorite movie. Or pick your favorite actor and your favorite film that that actor's in of all time. That you've loved for 20, 30 years, okay? Now, that actor ends up doing something that you don't agree with, that you think is a piece of shit move, or that, you know, they cheat on their wife, they end up killing somebody, something extreme, whatever. They have crazy religious views, they end up going to prison for something, whatever, right? Fine, dandy. You don't agree with whatever their actions are, and that's fine. Neither do I. However, do you now hate that film? Your favorite film since you were a child. You're telling me you still don't like that film? I'm just telling you right now, I think it's bullshit. I think you're lying to yourself. You have loved that film since you were 5 years old. And if you convince yourself that because one actor in that film did something shady or shitty, that you now hate that film that you've loved for 25, 30 years, I'm going to tell you to look in the goddamn mirror. Because the only one you're fooling is that guy that you're looking back at. I'm just saying, like, I don't buy that. I don't buy that argument. People have tried to convince me of that. They're like, I can't watch Mel Gibson movies. I can't watch, now, oh, the big thing now, I can't watch Will Smith movies anymore. I can still watch Men in Black and Hitch and all these movies that I like that Will Smith is in. I can still watch episodes of Prince of Bel-Air. I don't give a shit. So he made a dick move 40 years later. Doesn't mean I don't like the shit he made in the 80s and 90s. Know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me to be able to do that. You don't have to agree with him to enjoy a film he did before or even after. I don't care. I like Tom Cruise. I like most of his movies. And I like, you know, I don't have to agree with his Scientology stuff to still think that he donates a lot to charity. And most of the movies he's in, I fucking love them. I like the Mission Impossibles. I like The Last Samurai. I like Top Gun. I like Days of Thunder. I like a lot of things this man does. So, once again, if the only reason you're not going to go see Top Gun Maverick is A, you didn't see this bad boy, or B, which I've already proven that most people apparently went and see it, and that also goes against everything I believe in, but if you aren't going just because you don't like Tom Cruise, sounds a lot like a you problem, and you are missing out. I'm sorry, you just are. Stop being childish. Go see one of the best movies I have seen in years. Literally years. It's one of the best films done, period. Period. Not even as a Top Gun fan. As a Top Gun fan, it's 11 out of 10. As a film fan, it's a solid 10 out of 10. It still stands up. It stands up. I can't find a fault with this goddamn film. I love this film. From start to finish, it's just a roller coaster of greatness, and I had the best time going there. It was just awesome. And to end off this video on the last note we're going to talk about is another reason to love this film even more. Is that once again, I've told you guys that my dad raised me on these movies. He raised me and my brother on Top Gun, Days of Thunder, the first Terminator, the first Star Wars, the first Michael Keaton Batman, all these films. We got raised on these movies, right? The Clint Eastwood movies and all that stuff. And my dad was sort of done with going to movies by the time we were about 10, 11 years old. And I mean, he would take us to a few movies, but he doesn't like going to the theaters anymore. The last time my dad went to a movie was 2005. We went to see Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That was the last time I convinced him, because he had taken me to Episode 1 and Episode 2, and finally, and he got me into Star Wars, and he had seen all of them in theaters up to then, so I said, let's finish off Star Wars. Now, he didn't go to see the sequels and whatever, but Episode 3 was the last time. So 17 years later, he has not seen a film since then. And movies have come and gone. He likes the Fast and Furious movies. He likes, you know, Star Wars. He likes Terminator. He likes all these things. He likes Batman. He loves the Batman movies and stuff. He loves the Spider-Man movies. He hasn't been to see a single movie. Not in theaters. He'll watch them when they come out on TV. That's what he's like. He's old. But for Father's Day this year, it just worked out. Me and my brother said, instead of trying to buy you something you don't need, we're going to take you to see Top Gun. And that's your Father's Day gift. So you're coming. Because that's what you're getting for a gift. And we finally convinced him. We went there. We saw it last weekend or whatever. And he had a fantastic time. He loved that movie. He had a great time. He hadn't been in the movie in 17 years. And he loved going with his two boys. He loved that whole thing. So another reason for me personally, that's just a personal reason, but it actually got my dad to go to the movies with me and my brother, you know, after he hasn't been since I was a kid. So big nostalgic moment there, not only seeing Top Gun, one of the first movies my dad ever, you know, watched with us, but to go see the sequel with him. A little bit of an emotional thing there. Fan-fucking-tastic. That's all I'm going to say. There's just so many reasons for me personally to love this damn film. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm done my rant. I mean, if you guys don't realize that $1 billion+ at the box office says that they did something goddamn right, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say as a small-time YouTuber to convince you. If, you know, the aviators, the dog tags, and the shirt don't do it. I mean, the hair. I gotta fix the hair. I should have cut my hair like this. I should have cut my hair for the video. I know. So sad, so sad. But, you know, don't tell my wife, because she'd be like, you want to get a haircut? You want to get a haircut? Yeah, go get a haircut. Your hair's terrible. And, yeah, I mean, look at this. It's a mess. But anyways, fact of the matter is, guys, this was a great movie. You should definitely go take a chance to see it, because it'll only be in theaters so damn long. And I think it's a movie with all the practical effects and stuff. I really do think it's a movie worthy of going to go see. Legit, I think it's a movie worthy of going to the movies to see on the big screen. So that's my take on it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, for all the 6 people that will watch it, because I know I'm an anime manga channel and stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys back here next time. Maybe I'll do another movie review sometime. Who knows? If I ever get back to the cinema. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye-bye. See ya.